was recently asked, how do we create unity during a time of immense division? And I didn't have a good answer. Truthfully, I had no answer at all. And I received this query after sharing my thoughts on the recent US presidential election on my radio show and got kind of slammed there. But there was one question, and that was it. How do we create unity during a time of division? And of course, sharing my thoughts on the election. What was the result of that? More division. So since then, I've been thinking about this question a lot. And I didn't want to create more division, even though I couldn't see a way to bridge the gap between two opposing political sides. But after much thought and struggle with the content of this video, I think I've come up with a few strategies. I'd love for you to try one or more and see if they prove helpful, because I think it's not just me struggling with that question, how do we create more unity when there's so much division? I think a lot of people are struggling with that question. So first, let's understand what we're really talking about. The term division is thrown around a lot. What does it really mean? Division is the action of separating something into parts or the process of being separated. It's also disagreement between two or more groups, typically producing tension or hostility. So when two or more groups of people feel separate or disagree, creates division. Of course, two individuals can also feel divided. You currently see division related to politics and election results in the United States. However, it's present in many areas of life and not confined to America or Americans. People are divided over wars and religion and gender issues and reproductive rights. Those are just a few examples. Conversely, though, unity is defined as the state of being united or joined as a whole. And here's the thing, humanity is joined as a whole. We are one. Since humans are spiritual beings in physical bodies, the spiritual part of us, the spirit or soul, is connected to Source. We're part and parcel of all that is. And yet humans create division by seeing opposing parts or groups as separate or different. So that fact provides a great place to start working on unity, right? When you feel the most division, remember that we're all spiritual beings connected to Source. It's only as human beings that we experience division. So when you feel separate, different, divided, look at those you call other and remember they are connected to you on a spiritual level. Know that only their human nature and yours causes the division you feel. A Unity Church minister once asked the congregation, which included me, to turn to the person sitting behind them and look them in the eye and say, "I see the Christ in you." And this exercise was meant to acknowledge that person's potential to be a Christed or enlightened being. She wanted us to look into the windows of the soul, the eyes, right, and recognize the spiritual self within that person. But this required seeing beyond the human form. So I would suggest trying this exercise if you want to experience more unity, even with those you see as different. Look into their eyes and see that there is indeed a spiritual being inside a human body. Now, to create more unity, you have to stop creating division. The more you feel like us versus them, the more you speak in those kinds of terms, the more division you will feel and create. Remember, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. We also all chose to be here at this time in human evolution. There has to be some reason why we're going through this life experience, and we're going through it together, even if we're standing on different sides of the playing field. So to some extent, we're all on the same team, even if it doesn't look like it. And remembering that reduces division. Now, supposedly humanity is on the cusp of a huge up-leveling in consciousness, and experts say we're soon going to enter an age of unity. Many experts say We have to first go through a period of division so we see and feel the contrast. Then we can experience unity. And the experience of immense division helps us choose unity. And as we do that, as we choose unity, we find ways to come together. If you're aware that this is a stage in humanity's evolution, you can feel gratitude for the process. You can feel thankful for the division because it's a way to get to unity. You can even feel thankful for the people with whom you disagree, because without the contrast they're providing, you wouldn't have the opportunity to become clear on what you truly want, unity. And you wouldn't have the chance to get clarity on your beliefs, values, and morals. Now, don't argue your point with those who see things differently. Sometimes doing that is an exercise in futility and creates way more division. So if someone truly wants to discuss differences with an open mind, have that conversation. Otherwise, opt out. At least that's what I do. Also, don't seek out people with different opinions to wag your finger at them and try to make your perspective known, because that's a surefire way to create division. It's you wanting to be right and making them wrong. And it's easy to make someone wrong for their perspective. You disagree, therefore you take the stance that you're right and they're wrong. Obviously, the right versus wrong stance creates division. Now, sometimes your conviction in your perspective is so strong you can't get away from believing you're right. You might even believe you have to express your belief to create change. But this can push people away and create more division. The need to be right causes many, many problems, and it's not a way to grow personally or spiritually. So counteract that desire to be right. And you can do that in two ways. First, ask yourself, would I rather be right or happy? Personally, I want to be happy, and I bet you do too. So I don't argue with people about whose perspective is right or wrong. Second, I step back and observe like a scientist or researcher. I hear other perspectives and listen to different opinions, even watch people's actions. Then I mentally respond, interesting. Let me see how that works out for them. The late Stuart Wilde would watch world events and say, interesting evolutionary experience. No judgment, just detached observance. That's a more unifying approach. You can't create division when you have no judgment and are detached. And you see humanity as one, but with different factions making different choices. Now, when your opinion differs from someone else's, engaging in conversations that you inherently know will cause division is often tempting. After all, you want to prove your point and get the other person to see your perspective. You want to be right. It's best not to engage in those kind of conversations. I don't seek them out. Instead, I actively avoid them. And this strategy may not bridge the gap, but ensures you don't create more division. And that's a step towards unity. Now, a great way to create unity is to become curious about the other side's perspective. Have a conversation with those whose points of view are different from yours, but do it with an open mind and a massive degree of curiosity. Ask a lot of questions, be a good listener. Don't try to convince them to your perspective. Just learn and don't judge. The more you understand, the less division you're going to feel and possibly create. And remember not to share your perspective or push your opinion on others. If they ask, you can share your perspective and answer their question. Now, I'm not about to tell you to love someone who expresses hate or whose perspectives, behaviors, or choices are harmful to you or others. I will ask you to just love more. Counteract hate by being someone who loves and expresses love. Demonstrate and feel your love for family and friends at a deeper level. Find ways to just be more loving. Smile at people. Let cars into your lane when driving in traffic. Hold doors open for people. Say good morning and smile at people. Tip generously. Be patient with sales clerks. Buy a stranger a cup of coffee and wave at people on the street. I have a neighbor who runs on the side of a really busy road here and waves at each passing car. She began doing this during the COVID pandemic, because she figured there were people who might need someone waving at them that make them feel better. And then she just continued. And indeed, her wave brightens people's lives and makes them feel as if they know and are connected to her. That's unity. You also can send love energetically to those with whom you disagree. That's going to go further to creating unity than hating them, for sure. Also, send love to the world, to war zones, or to whomever you feel needs it. As you put out more love into the world, you change the vibration of the collective consciousness. Your energy shifts the energy on the planet as well. Now, instead of focusing on division, how about you place your attention on the unity you already experience? Maybe you're part of a men's group or a charitable organization. Of course, you may have family or friend groups, right? If you don't have those kind of unifying connections, find like-minded people to help you feel part of a group. Join a club, volunteer at a rescue organization, or go to a religious service. Be part of something. Groups offer unity. Being part of a group makes you feel a sense of unity within yourself and the world. And that radiates outward and creates more unity. You know, it's that ripple effect, right? So keep in mind that joining a movement or finding like-minded people to hang out with creates unity. And maybe it doesn't create unity for the whole, but you're going to put out the energy of unity. And that does create that ripple effect. So come together with those with whom you feel aligned. If you take up a cause like equal rights for all genders, you're going to feel aligned and unified with the others in that group. But just be careful about how you share your cause. Don't do it with anger or from a place of victimhood. Do it with care, love, and unification in mind. And be aware that if that group positions itself against another, the group and you actually create more division. Last, let's talk about frequency, unifying frequency. We live in an energetic world. The frequency with which each human being vibrates impacts not only those that person encounters, you know, in their immediate circle, but the whole. And it takes a much smaller number of individuals operating at high positive frequencies to outweigh a much larger number operating at lower negative frequencies. So in other words, a few people with positive energy can shift the negative energy put out by many. I believe the same holds true of unity. Suppose enough of us show up with a high frequency created by focusing on unity in any of the ways that I mentioned, or any ways that you can think of. In that case, we can counter the frequency of division. Actually, I have one more thought, and that it comes from something that I learned or I saw my Buddhist neighbor post. She said she's able to hold space for Americans on both sides of the political aisle because from her perspective, it's possible to honor the middle way and avoid creating division in your heart by withholding judgment. Buddhists see the middle way as a path that avoids extremes and seeks to find balance in life. Division is often created by extreme viewpoints, and those viewpoints tend to create imbalance in people's lives and in the world. So I think I'd really be remiss if I didn't mention this Buddhist strategy. Not everyone can manage to walk this path, this middle way. I know I've not always managed to do so. I keep trying, but it's something to strive for, is it not? Even small acts and changes in perspective can help create unity. So create unity within and without in whatever ways you can. And as a result, you're going to reduce the division between the division you and others experience. So I'd love to know how you think we can create unity during a period of immense division. I do not have all the answers. I told you I struggled with this video, this content, because it's a really tough question, right? Especially when you feel strongly about your point of view. So let me know. What do you think? How can we create more unity when we have so much division? So if you're new to me, I'm Nina Amir, the Inspiration to Creation coach. I am an intuitive transformational coach, a certified high performance coach. I am an author, an editor, an author coach, all kinds of coaching. And what I really love to do is to help people step into being the person that can take the actions that help them create what really matters to them. So I like to help them get out of their way, find their blind spots, and really follow their spiritual guidance system and take the actions that help them, as I said, create what really matters to them. So if that's of interest to you, click on the link above to find 3 ways to work with me. Okay, I'd love to work with you as a coach. Of course, there's lots of free stuff at my website, ninaamir.com. You can go there and read the blog and download a video and other things. Um, if you aren't sure how to work with me, like you look at my offerings and you're not sure which one's right for you or whether I'm even the right coach for you, click on the second link, which gives you a way to schedule a 15-minute appointment with me. And we'll chat and we'll have a talk and we'll see whether we are a good fit or we'll figure out which of my programs is the best one for you. Okay, I work with lots of different people, writers, authors, entrepreneurs, moms, dancers, all kinds of people. And so, let's see whether you and I are a good fit to work together. So click on that second link and schedule a chat with me. Until I talk to you next time, go out there and achieve more inspired results.